So I have a question. Has anybody seen any good Transformers media lately? Um, because if you were hoping to get that from the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom, the third installment in the unholy trilogy that has made me seriously rethink Transformers media as a whole. But seriously, honestly, compared to Earthrise and compared to Seige, this is probably a masterpiece. But because Seige and Earthrise were so bad, that this comes across as a striking piece of Transformers Transformers media. Oh man, where do I begin? Well, I'm gonna probably, you know what, I'm gonna bounce back and forth with pros and cons. So I think that would be a better way to sort of do the flow of this review. So biggest pro, I'm gonna get it out there right away. No sidelining Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime actually comes across in this as a competent leader willing to sacrifice himself and go out of his way to save other people. And he's not selfish, he's not moronic, he's a robot, a being who has learned his lessons from the previous bad the previous two bad installments in this series, and he's grown from it and gotten better. Now, here's my problem, which is what I've said in the previous video. Most of this growth should not have taken place in 6 episodes. It should have taken place over 18 episodes. He should have been dumb and naive and shown some competence. He should have been up in Earthrise and then come back down. He should have been down in Kingdom and rose back up. But it's funny because he just is flatline. He's dumb all the way around. For 12 episodes, and then for 6 episodes, I feel like the writers, they somehow understood character arcs, and Optimus Prime started to behave like Optimus Prime, and that was refreshing compared to the other two series. Con: everyone talks like this. Megatron must be stopped. Prime must be stopped. Everyone, and I mean everyone, talks like this, except Air-Razor and RC. I think Rat Trap. Maybe Cheetor. Everybody else has this long-winded speeching. I mean, it's terrible. Let's bounce it back to a con too, relating to this. Con: Beast Megatron, Predacon Megatron. Nah, homie. Nah, dude. It's like they took his backstory from Beast Wars and put that backstory as the character rather than the character we sort of we grew in love in Beast Wars. They did him dirty. So in making Prime and Megatron more complex, making Starscream, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but making these other characters more complex, they did Megatron they did Predacon Megatron. They did him dirty in this series. Ooh, they did him so dirty. They did him so dirty in this series. You probably have to watch to see what I'm talking about, but the way they did his character is dirty. Like, come on, man. Come on. Pro. We got to see so much more depth from the second tier secondary characters. So, like, you know, you have your Optimus, you have your Megatron. But we got to see so much more depth from Starscream. We got to see we got to see Dinobot. Dinobot actually was done pretty well. He came across as a little bit of a boss. Like, he was bossing it. I was kind of cool with Dinobot for that. I mean, it's not. If you remove the Dinobot from Beast Wars and just accept this dude as Dinobot, not ever seeing that series, this dude came across as a boss. Okay, cool. Another pro, Optimus Primal. There's some stuff Optimus Primal does in the show. I'm like, yo, old boy kind of smooth. He kind of grimy. I don't expect it from him. I didn't expect certain things that he did to be done. There was like a little mini plot twist with a plan and blah 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 blah. But it's like, yeah, he wasn't as horrible as I thought he was going to be. I figured if Alita 1 wasn't there, they were going to take Optimus Primal and replace her as the nagging wife, in this case the nagging gorilla guy, in Prime's ear, yelling and screaming at him, calling him an idiot. And that didn't happen, which was very refreshing, because once again, this was actually very refreshing to watch, because the other ones were so bad. Earthrise and Seige were so bad that when you turn around and see this, you're like, where was this in the other two series? Where was this? Where was Prime's nobility? Where was Prime's planning? Where was Prime's where was the Optimus Prime that we as fans enjoyed? I mean, understand, this is very important. Prime is never going to be the Optimus Prime of old. This is like, you can't go into this thinking, oh, I'm going to get the Optimus Prime from all the other different medias that we've seen over the years, where Prime is, even in a lower state of leadership, he's still a gallant, heroic person. He ain't that in this series. He ain't that at all in this series. My hope is that the characterization that we see of Prime in this Netflix series is never seen again. Feel free after this. Feel free, any writers out there, if you ever come across this video, feel free to take that characterization of Optimus Prime and delete the hell out of it. Just get rid of it. No one wants to see that. It created a soulless series, because a character of high nobility, say what you want about the Bay movies, say what you want about them. Prime was Optimus Prime. He was the big hero. There were a couple of times where they made him goofy, but for the most part, he was the hero. He came and saved the damn day. And I just feel like they missed the soul of the character. They missed it. They missed it by 100 million miles. They were so out of sorts with the way Optimus Prime should be done in a series. I was just kind of like I said, it just lacked a soul. I'm riffing. I know I'm riffing, but I'm going in a little bit. I'm going to go in a little bit. The Maximals weren't as annoying, and they weren't as ham-fisted as I thought they were going to be, because they were shoehorned in. They were shoehorned in very, very, very quickly, and I expected them to be annoying. They weren't annoying. They weren't that bad. They actually kind of fell into the old ideas of what the Beast Wars characters were, for a little bit here and there. But let's be clear. I'm going to close out with this. I know, you know, anyone knows. All Transformers media is just there to sell toys. They're there to sell product. We accept that as fans. We do. But this one was so on the nose. It might as well have just, if this was a YouTube video, put it like this, if this was a YouTube video, they would have to put the little product placement tag or whatever, paid advertisement tag above the video, because this was so spot on product placement. It was embarrassing. There was no need for some of this product placement. Like the characters, there were certain points characters in this show did not make sense to be there. They should not have been there, but they were there. And yeah, it's just basic product placement. I half expected them to be holding a Coca-Cola can or a Pepsi can or like a Snickers bar or like drink some Gatorade in between their fights or something. I half expected it. I really did, because this series has been the most blatant the most blatant product placement series I've ever seen. It's like they weren't even trying to hide it at certain points. They really weren't trying to hide it. But yeah, we all know what Transformers media is. It's a way to push product. And this this entire series overall, if this series made you want to buy more Transformers, if this series made more collectors, then it did its job. I don't think overall this series created, I think it destroyed more than it created. I think it broke more than it created. But it didn't, but I feel like the fan base is above the pettiness that we've seen in other IPs. I feel like this community is above that. Therefore, they will either, mostly because there's a lot more material out there. Star Wars is not there's a ton of material out there, but it's not as prominent as the movies. The movie experience with Star Wars is the movie experience. As an example, but like the community, I feel can ultimately just brush this off as just a crappy series. It came across as a crappy series. The animation was okay. The overall presentation I didn't like at all. There were certain aspects I thought were great. I thought the grittiness of the show was very refreshing. But overall, it's a miss. I know there's people who I've talked to on the different forums and everything who have never watched one episode of this series, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't if I were you either. but I just did it out of pure curiosity. I did, and it was a waste. In a way, it was a waste. In a way, it wasn't, because I feel like Kingdom made up for a lot of the faults that people had with the series. So yeah, I don't, check it out if you want to. Personally, I didn't. Compared to the other ones, it's a masterpiece. So, standing by itself on its own two legs, it's below average at best. It's rushed. It's the stories kind of, there's side stories that just get lost in a shuffle. There's, it's just, yeah, it's a mess. This whole series has just been a mess. It's been rushed, and I hope that if there's hints that at the end that they might go forward. I think, you can watch and see. There's some hints here and there, but if they decide to go forward, they need to make 12 episode seasons. They need to not rush this and let the characters breathe, let them grow, let them know. And yeah, with that said, be safe, be good. And this is the Drunken Prime, cracking open another beer and signing off.